And in keeping with this revolutionary media approach that President Trump deployed during the campaign, the Trump White House will speak to all media outlets and personalities, not just the legacy media who are seated in this room. Because according to recent polling from Gallup, Americans' trust in mass media has fallen to a record low. Millions of Americans, especially young people, have turned from traditional television outlets and newspapers.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be looking into some really interesting developments in the media world.
Yeah.
We've got this whole stack of articles and reports here.
Right.
And they all seem to be pointing to one big trend, and that is a shift away from traditional news.
Yeah.
And towards, like, independent creators.
Absolutely. And I think what's really interesting is that it's not just, a few people on their phones. This shift is happening at the very highest levels. Even the White House is recognizing the growing power of independent voices.
Because you're talking about, like, we've got this White House press briefing transcript right here. And the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, is actually encouraging independent journalists, podcasters, YouTubers, content creators to apply for credentials to cover the White House.
Exactly.
Like, that's a big deal, right?
It's a huge change from how things used to be. Traditionally, the White House press briefing room was this exclusive club for the big names, your CNN, your New York Times. So this new openness, it reflects a much larger trend, and that is that people are losing trust in those traditional big media outlets and turning towards independent sources, especially younger generations.
So it's not just about some cool new opportunity.
Right.
It's like a sign of where the whole media landscape is heading.
Precisely. And the White House isn't just paying lip service to this. They've actually created a new seat in the briefing room, a new media seat, specifically for these independent voices. And get this, over 7,400 creators have applied.
Wow.
That's a lot of people wanting a seat at the table.
Yeah, that's a huge number. But it makes you wonder, what are the real implications of this? Like, what are the good things and the bad things about having all these new voices covering the White House?
Yeah, that's a million-dollar question.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it could lead to a more diverse range of perspectives and make the White House, genuinely more accessible to the public. But there are concerns about ensuring accuracy, and responsible reporting, because traditionally we've relied on those big outlets to kind of act as gatekeepers filtering information, right? So what happens when those gatekeepers aren't there?
Yeah, it could get pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
This move by the White House is likely to accelerate this trend that we call the decentralization of influence.
Right.
Which is exciting because it could create a more vibrant media landscape, but it also puts more responsibility on us, the audience, to become more media literate.
Right.
We have to be able to, think critically about the information we're seeing, figure out what's reliable and what's not.
It's not just about having access to information, it's about understanding it.
Absolutely. And, what's interesting is this shift toward independent media coincides with another major development, and that is a potential economic boon that could be a gold mine for content creators.
Hold on, a gold rush for creators. Tell me more about this.
Well, the next 4 years are predicted to be a period of significant growth for business, for AI, and for content creation. We're seeing economic trends, technological advancements, and even, political decisions all pointing the same direction. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. We've got reports here on President Trump signing all these executive orders, promoting AI, cryptocurrency, and, just a bunch of pro-business policies. So what does all that have to do with someone who wants to, say, start a podcast or, build a following online?
It could be huge. Think about it. Lower interest rates, pro-business policies make it easier to start and grow your own business. And then you've got this increasing focus on AI, which could lead to amazing new tools and technologies that'll make content creation even easier and even more innovative.
So for someone who's thinking about diving into this whole, creator economy thing, what should they be paying attention to? What are the big opportunities that are out there?
Well, first off, this shift toward independent media means you have a real chance to cover, big stories, even things like White House events, in a way that was never possible before. You can react to breaking news, offer your own analysis. You can even fact-check the traditional outlets.
So it's like the playing field is leveling out.
Exactly. Anyone with a good story and the skills to tell it can get in the game.
Right.
It's not just about covering the news. It's also a perfect time to launch your own platform.
Right.
Whether it's a YouTube channel, a podcast, a newsletter, anything traditional media is declining, which creates a huge space for new voices.
We also have some research here on how this whole concept of fair use is changing.
Right.
Can you explain what that is and why it matters to creators?
Sure. Fair use basically means how much you can use of other people's content legally, and it's becoming more flexible, which is great for creators because it means more creative freedom.
Right.
You can make those reaction videos, those insightful breakdowns, all sorts of things using existing material as your starting point.
That's interesting. So it's not just about making original content from scratch. It's about adding your own spin, your own analysis to what's already out there.
Right. Think about how popular reaction videos are or those, sports highlight breakdowns. That's fair use in action. And we can't forget about podcasting. Those long-form conversations are really gaining popularity, which makes sense. People crave those deep dives and those real conversations.
Yeah, it's different from the quick sound bites and headlines you see in traditional media.
Yeah.
People want something more substantial, something they can really sink their teeth into.
It's a shift towards authenticity and in-depth discussion, which is fantastic for creators. If you can deliver those thought-provoking interviews, those insightful analyses, those engaging stories through your podcast, you have a huge opportunity to build a loyal audience and really become a go-to source in your niche.
And it seems like some niches are hotter than others, right?
Yeah.
We keep seeing AI, tech, cryptocurrency popping up everywhere.
Those are definitely booming areas with all the focus on AI and crypto from the government. You've got this rapidly growing audience that's hungry for information and insights on those topics.
So if you're passionate about those areas and you can break it down in a way that people understand, there's a real audience waiting for you.
Absolutely. But don't forget, success in any niche, whether it's tech or something else, requires passion and dedication. You have to love what you're doing and be willing to put in the work to build that connection with your audience.
Okay, so let's say you found your niche, you're passionate, you're ready to go.
Right.
But there's already so much content out there.
So much.
How do you stand out from the crowd and make your voice heard?
That's where getting specific niching down becomes so crucial. Don't try to be everything to everyone. Figure out what your unique expertise is, that special angle you can offer that no one else can, even within something big like tech. There are tons of sub-niches you could focus on: 3D printing, robotics, AI, ethics, sustainable technology. The list goes on and on.
So it's like finding your tribe within a tribe.
Exactly. It's about finding your people and consistently creating high-quality content that speaks directly to them.
And that could be anything from, educational videos to entertaining reviews to insightful interviews to, even just sharing your personal journey and experiences.
The most important thing is to be yourself. Be passionate and focus on building that genuine connection with your audience.
And remember, you're not limited by the old rules of traditional media.
Right.
You have the freedom to experiment.
Absolutely.
Try new things. Find what works best for you and your audience.
It's like the Wild West of media, but in a good way.
Yeah, there's this energy, this excitement about what's possible.
It's a really exciting time, but this freedom comes with responsibility. As creators gain influence, it's really crucial to think about the impact of your content and uphold those ethical standards.
It's not just about chasing views or clicks.
Right.
It's about building trust with your audience.
Exactly. That means being transparent, double-checking your facts, being open to different viewpoints, in this world. Without the old gatekeepers, creators have a responsibility to make sure they're providing accurate and reliable information.
It's almost like creators are becoming the new gatekeepers, but in a way that's more spread out and less centralized.
That's a great way to put it. And it highlights how important media literacy is for both creators and the audience. We all need to be able to think critically about the information we're consuming, separate fact from fiction, be aware of potential biases.
Yeah, that's a skill that seems more and more important these days, with all the information coming at us from every direction.
Absolutely. And it's something that creators can actually help with by setting a good example with their own content and encouraging their audience to think critically. They can make everyone, more savvy consumers of information.
So it's not just about creating content.
Right.
It's about helping to create a more informed public.
Precisely. And that's what makes this whole shift in the media landscape so fascinating. It's not just about democratizing information. It's about empowering people to participate in society in a more informed way.
We were looking at some data on how much money some independent journalists are making, and it's pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Like some are pulling in millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Are there any examples that come to mind?
One that stands out is Taylor Lorenz. She's a tech journalist who left the Washington Post to start her own media company, and she's been incredibly successful at building a dedicated following and making money through subscriptions, sponsorships, even merchandise.
Wow, so she basically built her own media empire.
Yeah.
But on her own terms.
Exactly. And she's not the only one. We're seeing more and more journalists and content creators breaking free from those traditional media structures and building their own successful businesses.
It's amazing to see that entrepreneurial spirit thriving in the media world.
Right.
Earlier, we talked about this idea of a content creator gold rush.
Right.
What makes the next few years so promising? What's driving this boom?
It's like a perfect storm of different factors coming together. We've got the decline of traditional media, the rise of independent creators, a potential economic boom. Even the government seems to be embracing this creator economy.
It's like everything is lining up just right.
In a way, yes, but it's important to remember that success in this world still takes work, dedication, and a bit of luck. It's not an easy path to riches.
Of course, there's no magic formula.
Right.
But it does seem like the barriers to entry are lower than ever before.
Yeah.
Like with a smartphone and an internet connection, anyone can potentially reach a global audience.
That's the beauty of it. It's a truly democratic medium that gives anyone with a story or a skill the ability to connect with others.
So for someone feeling inspired and wanting to jump into this gold rush, what advice would you give them? Where should they start?
Start with your passion.
Yeah.
What excites you? What knowledge or skills do you have that you could share with the world?
It's about finding that intersection between what you love and what an audience needs or wants.
Exactly. Once you've found that sweet spot, just start creating. Don't let perfectionism hold you back. The most important thing is to get started and keep learning and experimenting along the way.
It's that done is better than perfect mentality.
Right. And don't be afraid to promote your work. Share it with everyone you know. Engage with your audience. Be open to feedback.
It's about building relationships, not just putting content out into the void.
Exactly. And consistency is key. The most successful creators are the ones who show up consistently, week after week, month after month, delivering value to their audience.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well said. And it's a marathon that can be incredibly rewarding, both personally and professionally.
Okay, let's talk about standing out. With so many creators vying for attention, what makes some content truly compelling? Like what grabs people's attention and keeps them coming back for more?
There are a lot of ingredients that go into making great content, but some of the most important are authenticity storytelling and providing real value. People are drawn to creators who are genuine, who share their stories in a way that connects, and who offer something useful, informative, or entertaining.
So it's not just about having fancy equipment or a slick production.
Right.
It's about that human connection.
Absolutely. People want to feel like they know you, like they can trust you, and like they're getting something worthwhile from spending their time with your content.
And that value can come in many forms.
Yeah.
It could be education, entertainment, inspiration, a sense of community.
Absolutely.
Even just a good laugh.
Exactly. The key is to understand what your audience is looking for and deliver it in a way that's both engaging and true to yourself.
So it's about finding your voice, your style, your unique contribution. We talked about traditional media being on the decline.
Yeah.
But are there any areas where you think they still have an advantage over independent creators?
Traditional media outlets definitely still have resources and infrastructure that most independent creators don't. They have those established distribution networks, large teams of journalists and producers, and the financial backing to do that in-depth investigative reporting.
So while they may be losing their grip on the narrative, they still have a role to play.
I believe so. But they need to adapt to this changing media landscape and find ways to connect with audiences who are becoming more and more skeptical of traditional media.
And that could mean embracing new platforms, trying out different formats, becoming more transparent and accountable.
Exactly. And maybe most importantly, they need to regain the trust of the public by delivering accurate, unbiased, and high-quality journalism consistently.
It's a big challenge, but it's crucial if they want to stay relevant in the long run.
Absolutely. The media world is evolving rapidly, and those who can adapt and innovate are the ones who will thrive.
We've talked a lot about the opportunities for creators, but what are some of the biggest challenges they face?
Right.
What are some of the hurdles that they need to overcome?
Well, one of the toughest things is simply standing out from the crowd with so much content being created every day. It's really hard to get your work seen and heard.
Yeah, it really is like trying to shout over a roaring crowd.
It is, and cutting through the noise takes effort and creativity. Another big challenge is making money. It can be really tough to generate revenue from your content, especially when you're first starting out.
Right. A lot of creators struggle to find that balance
Yeah.
between, creating content they're passionate about
Right.
and creating content that actually pays the bills.
It's a constant balancing act, and it often involves a lot of experimenting and figuring things out as you go.
And then there's the challenge of staying motivated and consistent
Right.
when you're essentially a one-person show.
That's a huge one. Being a creator can be amazing, but it can also be isolating and tough at times. It takes a lot of self-discipline, good time management, and a strong support system to keep going and avoid burnout.
It sounds like building a successful career as a creator is as much about business smarts and resilience as it is about creativity and talent.
That's a great point, and it's something that many aspiring creators don't realize until they're in the thick of it.
So for someone just starting out, what are some practical steps they can take to build a solid foundation for their journey?
Well, first things first, define your niche and your target audience. Who are you trying to reach? What are they interested in? What are their needs and pain points? Once you have a clear understanding of your audience, you can start creating content that really resonates with them.
So it's about being strategic and intentional, not just throwing things out there and hoping something sticks.
Exactly. And then choose a platform that makes sense for your content and target audience. If it's short form video, YouTube or TikTok might be your best bet. If you're more into long form audio podcasting, could be a good fit.
And then there's the whole world of written content with platforms like Substack, Medium, even good old-fashioned blogging.
The key is to try different things and find what works for you. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Once you've chosen your platform, focus on creating high-quality content that aligns with your brand and your audience's expectations.
That means investing in some decent equipment, learning some basic editing skills, and understanding how to tell a good story, whether it's through video, audio, or writing.
It's about presenting yourself and your work in a way that looks and sounds professional and keeps people engaged.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate the power of promotion. Share your content on social media, connect with other creators in your niche, engage with your audience. Building a community around your work is crucial for long-term success.
Right. It's not just about broadcasting. It's about building relationships.
It's all about finding those people who connect with what you're doing and creating a loyal following that grows over time.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the shifting media landscape to the nuts and bolts of building a successful career as a creator. It seems like it's a field with huge opportunities, but also plenty of challenges.
I think that sums it up perfectly.
Yeah.
It's a demanding but incredibly rewarding path for those who are driven by creativity, a desire to connect with others, and a passion for lifelong learning.
It's inspiring to see so many people taking control of their own narratives and building their own platforms. It really feels like a democratization of media.
It really is, and it's exciting to think about the impact this could have on society as a whole. Imagine a world where information is more diverse and accessible and less controlled by those traditional gatekeepers.
It's like the power shifting from the few to the many.
Exactly, and that's a powerful shift. It means individuals have more agency, more of a voice, and more opportunities to shape the world around them.
It's almost like the internet is finally living up to that early promise of connecting people and empowering individuals.
I think that's a great observation, and it's something we should all be excited about.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the evolving media landscape, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
The key takeaway is that it's a fantastic time to be a content creator. The old rules of media are being rewritten, and there's a huge opportunity for those who are willing to embrace this new landscape.
Traditional media is losing its grip. The creator economy is booming, and even the White House is opening its doors to independent voices.
It's a time of incredible change and opportunity. The question is, how will each of us seize this moment?
What unique perspective, expertise, or story can you bring to the world? This is your chance to shape the future of media.
Don't wait for permission. Don't let fear hold you back. Step into your power as a creator and share your voice with the world.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah.
It's been a truly eye-opening conversation.
Absolutely.
And for our listeners, if this episode has sparked your creative fire, we encourage you to take action.
Yes, start that YouTube channel, launch that podcast, write that blog post. The world needs to hear what you have to say.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.